Good morning, everyone. Today, we'll be doing one of Florence's most popular institutions, La Misericordia, or Confraternity of Mercy. According to legend, the Misericordia was begun by Piero di Luca Borsi. He was a porter for the Lana Guild, one of the 7 major guilds responsible for the financing of the Florence Cathedral. The Lana Guild was the processor of the local wool major guild, and Piero and his porter friends would go for wine to a pub on Vicolo Adimari, or Adimari Alley, right behind the Bigallo. After some glasses, many blasphemed God, so Piero decided to fine all blasphemers, and with the money collected, he bought 6 wicker baskets to carry the sick on their shoulders to hospitals or to Santa Maria Nuova, the hospital founded by Beatrice's father, Polco Portinari, which is still one of the most important hospitals in Florence. Here we're looking at 2 crosses. The Trebbio cross in the quarter of Santa Maria Novella, Florence, and the Santa Felicita cross on the quarter of Santo Spirito. Florence in this period was divided into quarters, 4 sections, and the Trebbio comes from the Latin trivium, or 3 streets, Via del Moro, Via delle Belle Donne, Florence's red light district, and Via dei Banchi. The column is dedicated to the Dominican friar Peter of Verona, or Saint Peter Martyr, a Dominican friar sent by Pope Innocent IV and the Dominican order to fight simony and heresy in Florence. His preaching skills brought him the support of the Guelph Popolo Minuto, the minor guild artisans, and the humbler clergy. After 2 decisive victories over the Patarine heretics in 1245, his activity in Florence went towards charitable institutions. He was sent back to northern Italy and killed in 1252. He was the first Dominican martyr. Notice this beautiful illuminated manuscript by Fra Angelico on the death of Saint Peter Martyr. I want you to notice that Saint Peter Martyr invented the Rosary, a series of mysteries dedicated to the joyful mysteries, the glorious mysteries, and the painful mysteries. And, in fact, notice the difference in color of the 3 crowns. In fact, the Rosary in Florence in Italy is called the corona, the crown. And in fact, you have the 3 crowns referring to the mysteries. Now, St. Paul John II has invented a 4th crown, which is that of the mysteries of light. In 1244, 2 institutions, the Bigallo and Misericordia, or Mercy, started in Florence, set up by the Dominican friar Peter of Verona, also known as Saint Peter Martyr. The palace facing the baptistry was built by Alberto Arnoldi as seat for the Misericordia, or Confraternity of Mercies, whose volunteers still take the sick to the hospital and bury the dead. Arnoldi also worked with Francesco Talenti, building Florence's cathedral, or Duomo, The second story, with biforium windows, was redone after a fire in 1442. Saint Peter Martyr preaching and the miracle of the spook horse in the background was done by Niccolò Gerini. And here we have a very interesting fresco by Niccolò di Pietro Gerini and Ambrogio Baldesi. The Misericordia brothers give foundlings to their adopted mothers. Now, the Bigallo took care of foundlings brought to the Loggia del Bigallo, which you see on the left, and exposed for adoption for 3 days, hoping that a charitable family would adopt them. They were called Bigallini when the Misericordia brothers and the Bigallo brothers were together from 1425 to 85. The last name Esposito comes from this thing, that the foundlings were exposed for adoption. And in fact, on the right-hand side, you see one of the Misericordia brothers with the logo of the Misericordia giving a foundling to his adopted mother. This very interesting painting describes the 1630 plague in Florence. And on the right-hand side, you can see the outfits worn by the Misericordia brothers until the 1990s. As you see, the painting shows you Arnolfo di Cambio's original facade for the Florence Cathedral, which was started in 1296 and demolished in 1587 by the Grand Duke of Tuscany, Francesco I. The Misericordia brothers on the painting, some in red, others carry the sick to plague hospitals and the dead for cremation. Most of the buildings that you see here have disappeared, including the Misericordia Palace's Mannerist facade by Alfonso Parigi the Elder. All the houses had shutters and cloth coverings, not glass windows. Actually, glass windows started later in Florence. Here you have the detail of the painted Misericordia Palace facade on the right. That 1575-78 Mannerist facade was painted by Bernardino Poccetti with the 7 Works of Mercy. He was also the one to paint the Arnolfo di Cambio facade. That's the reason why we still have it. The brothers, as you see, you carry the sick on with barrows rather than wicker baskets. Here you can see the Misericordia Palace seen from Giotto's bell tower and Stefano di Letti's oratory and entrance on the left-hand side. When the Medici dynasty died out in 1737 with the death of Gian Gastone, the Grand Duchy of Tuscany was ruled by Austrians until 1861 with the unification of Italy. Grand Duke Leopold I's Habsburg reign became Grand Duke of Tuscany in 1765. He was also one of the administrators or capo di guardia of the Misericordia. He added a chapel, an oratory on the left-hand side of the palace. An enlightened ruler, he was the first monarch to abolish the death penalty in Tuscany and in Italy and in Europe 3 years before the French Revolution. His sister, Marie Antoinette, was Habsburg-Lorraine, was the Queen of France, and was guillotined in 1793. The Misericordia began in Florence in 1244, and it has branches all over the world today. When it began, Florence was torn by a civil war between Guelphs for the Pope and Ghibellines for the Emperor. So Guelph and Ghibelline volunteers worked with their heads covered with hoods, true brothers in dispensing charity, notwithstanding their political beliefs. The facade fresco shows a Misericordia brother with the basket used to carry the sick to hospitals. And as you can see, they were dressed in black, and the huge hat was for the alms collected for the Misericordia. GIF Dean Jason Houston, Registrar Celia Passeri, Student Development Federica Dionisio, and Guido Gabelli are active members of the Misericordia today. Dr. Houston drives the ambulance, a true Fiorentino.